Hey guys, Dan with Dmak Outdoors here, bringing to you guys another episode of In the Kitchen with Dmak. Tonight's pizza night, so we are going to make some pizzas. I'm going to take you guys along on the adventure as we make the dough, as we do the toppings, do the stuff. So I'm going to show you guys how to make like the best homemade pizza that you'll ever have, and it's really easy to do in your own kitchen. It's a recipe that I've kind of concocted myself, but the base recipe is actually that from Mellow Mushroom. Knew the guys. And a couple of melon mushrooms back there. I was able to get enough of the recipe to be able to build off of it right there. But got a really, really good dough recipe right here, so stay tuned as we dive in. I'm going to show you everything that we do to make a dough. Alright, there will be a more extensive list of ingredients down in the description section, and the amounts. Everything, I'll have the recipe down there, but just so you guys can see what we're using, I've got 1 3/4 cups of water heated to about 120 degrees so we can activate the yeast quickly. I've got some pizza dough yeast right here. Thanks, Bubs. Let's leave that right there. Got my little helper in the kitchen with me tonight. So we've got the pizza dough yeast, we've got salt, we've got flour, we've got olive oil, we've got sugar, we've got crushed red pepper, oregano, basil, garlic, cornmeal, and then we've got honey over here. I've got some raw honey that I'm having to bring it to liquid form from crystal form right there, so we've got that warming up at the moment. But let's go ahead and start making some pizza, and I'll start talking the ingredient levels and everything as I start getting into it. Alright, so I've got my water up at temperature. I've got it up at about 120 degrees. You don't want to go past that because it will kill the yeast, but I like to do the 110, 120-ish just so that we can get a faster activation on the yeast. So 1 3/4 cup of water into the bowl. Along with that, I am almost out of sugar, and we have not re-updated. We're about to move, so I haven't really filled the pantry at all, so I might not have quite enough. 2 tablespoons of sugar. You don't need that much, but I like a sweet dough, or sweet behind it. So we do 2 tablespoons. That is just about all the above. Let's just kill the rest of that. And then let's see, let's get our honey. I think we're crisp, so I like to use raw honey. And then also with the water, that actually makes a difference. I'm using distilled water tonight because I have that readily available just right here on the counter. But natural spring water, or like anything that's like, you want to use filtered water, like the better the water, the better the dough, and that absolutely will affect the flavor. The 2 places that I've noticed the most that water affects flavor is coffee and pizza doughs. So pay attention to that as you're making your doughs, to use spring water or distilled or something like that, unless you've got good tap. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of honey, and I use like heaping tablespoons. And I like to use the local raw honey. So I've got some local raw honey right here, because the only ingredient that should be in honey is honey. And so if you see more on your ingredient list than just honey, you need to go get some real honey. So we're going to go ahead and just stir up the sugar and the honey in the water to make ourselves a nice little malt base. Okay, so, and I've got just a single packet. I use the pizza dough yeast because I can find it. Regular rapid rise yeast will work just fine if you can't get the specific pizza dough yeast, and you'll have to bear with the shaky camera because my little kitchen helper is climbing around the tripod, so he might move us around just a little bit. Alright, so we've got the yeast sitting in there, we're activating. Probably going to take about 10 minutes for it to get to a spot where we can start throwing other stuff in, but we're going to go ahead and start doing some other preps while we're waiting for this to activate, so you guys can see what that's looking like in the bowl so far. So we've just, it's going to smells like you're starting like a mead or a booze or something like that. It smells nice. But so yeah, so just stay tuned and we'll start cranking out some pizzas. All right, guys. Well, our yeast is active and ready for work. And so you can see that it's like nice and frothy instead of all granular looking on there like it was before. So we are ready to rock. We're ready to start making the doughs. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some olive oil. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of olive oil into our concoction right here. 1, 2. This is kind of fun for me, guys, because I've never actually written down or recorded this recipe. It's just one that's been in my head for the last decade or so. So this is us making a recipe card at the moment. So I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. Let's go ahead and do a teaspoon of salt. Get that out of the way. So we're going to just use basic iodized table salt. Pour that over the sink so that I can level it off with the spout. And you can be a little bit liberal or less than liberal with your ingredients as so desired. That's the beauty of baking, is you get to do your own thing. So we've got a tablespoon of salt. That's good. We've got a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, teaspoon of salt. Let me correct you on that. We're going to do a teaspoon of basil leaves, dried basil. I'm also going to do a teaspoon of oregano. And this is going to, oh man, this dough, guys, it's going to be so good. This makes really good like pretzels, pizza dough, calzones, so any of that sort of stuff. So we got a teaspoon of oregano. So we've got those guys in there. Let's go ahead and cap those. They don't spill. And then you guessed it, another teaspoon of dried garlic. And this one you can obviously, I can't see. So you can be a little bit liberal with this. This is just adding flavor to your dough. And then the last additive of seasoning is going to be, and this is obviously optional, but I like to throw in a teaspoon of crushed red pepper as well. And so just to recap, in the bowl we've got 1 3/4 cups water, a packet of yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of honey. You can use molasses instead of honey if you so desire. That does a really good thing to the dough as well. I prefer the honey flavor versus the molasses flavor. Then we've got the teaspoon of oregano, teaspoon of basil, teaspoon of garlic, and teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of peppers. So that's going to be your basic ingredients flavor-wise for the dough. Now we're going to start actually adding the bases. First thing I throw in, not a full cup, it's probably going to be about 2/3 to 3/4 cup, but I only use the 1 cup measuring thing when I'm doing it because I don't like to waste or do extra dishes. So just south of a cup of cornmeal, right around there is going to be what you're going to want to throw in, and then we're going to go ahead and then you're going to be using about a cup of cornmeal and close to 4 cups of flour. It won't be totally 4 cups, but it'll pretty much plan out to about 4 cups. So we're going to go ahead and just throw 2 cups to begin with in there now. So we got 1 and we've got 2. And then I'm gonna hand mix it for just a second, just to get it to a pasty dough consistency, and then we're gonna throw it onto the KitchenAid right there and let her do the task while we're cooking bacon over there. Alright, so that's about the consistency that I'm going to get it to before we throw it onto the KitchenAid right there. Just so you guys can see that. So. Alright, we're on the mixing bowl right now, so we're going to go ahead and lift that into position. And as it is with trip power, just had to wake her up. Sounds like we're going to have to do a little bit of oiling and maintenance to our KitchenAid because it sounded a little tired on startup right there. But we're going to just leave it on 1 right here. And we're going to go ahead and start adding a little bit more flour. I'm going to go ahead and dump another cup in there. Let's go to 2. So with the pizza dough, you're not going to want to go past 2 on your KitchenAid because it will overwork the motor and overwork the arm. You can hear that mine is... She was a little bit tired on setting 1 right there, so we're definitely going to need to do a little bit of maintenance on her right there just to keep her living. But, you know, and that's something that doesn't get talked about often in the prepper world or in the kitchen stuff right there, is that you actually do have to take care of your kitchen equipment if you plan on it lasting you a lifetime. You can't just expect for it to go and never take it apart, never clean it, never oil it or maintain it there. So something to keep in mind right there. You know, same thing with your kitchen knives and your cookware. You know, you always want to make sure you clean them up appropriately and dry them appropriately so that you're not damaging your hardware, so that you can maintain the longevity of the life there. So it's, you know, just something to think about. But you can see right here the dough is starting to get, like, it's already balling up quite nicely down in there. And I'm actually going to slow it down now that we're, and then it's another thing you're not supposed to do, but is put stick your hand into a mixing bowl while it's mixing, because that's like super dangerous. But, my kitchen, my rules, so, cool. Alright guys, well, it's been about 10 minutes, and, we've only had a small disaster crisis in the Dmak household here. We've only got, you know, one bloody mouth on a 2-year-old that just endoed over his little tricycle thingy, something or other. So that's exciting. But yay for the life of parents and the life of kids, right? So as you can see, the dough is in a beautiful consistency right now. We got up to about 3 3/4 cups of flour total. Probably close to 4 pretty much is what I did. And then just right here at the end, I sprinkle in cornmeal just to help kind of finish it, but that gives it a little bit of traction in the mixing bowl so that it can just finish out the kneading process properly right there. But as you can see, man, it's like it's balled up nicely. It's not going to be too sticky. It's going to be a really good consistency. This is going to be a really good dough. It smells good. So let's go ahead and kill that guy right there. Drop the ball. Take off the hook, get that out of the way. Alright. Push that guy out of the way. And actually, so as you can see, just looking at it right here real quick, like you can actually see how it's sticking to the bowl like that? That means we need a little bit more flour. It's still a little bit too moist for pressing out into a dough, so we're going to put it back onto the mixer, and we're going to splash probably 1/3 of a cup of flour down and let it do just a little less spin cycle. Come on, girl. That's the only pain thing. Like, I really like this professional grade KitchenAid. These things are awesome, but getting the bowl onto the stand is kind of a pain in the ass. So first world problems at its finest, right? There we go. Get the hook back out. I threw in the flour, and then I'm going to throw in a little bit of cornmeal as well, just to help give it traction, just to speed this process up a little bit, because I do have to obviously let it go through a full kneading cycle again, so it's going to be another couple minutes before this dough is ready to partition out. Alright guys, so we just pulled it off the mixer right there, and we're just going to get it ready to partition it out. Hey babe, do you want 2 pizzas or pizzas and pretzels? 2 pizzas. Cool, so we're going to do 2 pizzas. So we're going to chop this into 2 bits right here, and then we're going to make 2 badass pizzas with it. So let's get just a little rubber knife right here. So I just kind of pound it out to, you know, kind of level it out inside the bowl right here. Alright, so we've got our little, these are my pizza trays, but they're also dough tray, you know, they're all the above. They're actually crawdad trays. I got these down in New Orleans for crawfish boils, but they make really good pizza trays, so that's what they're being used as at the moment. But let's go ahead, and I use cornmeal as my base on everything when it comes to pizza, because cornmeal is like one of those good secret ingredients there. But we're going to go ahead and pull out the first half right here. So it's still going to be a little bit sticky. That's okay, guys, because we're gonna knead it into little dough balls right here, so they are kind of little crust things here, so that we can have. And what I do is almost just roll it around into its center right here, so that it keeps on working. This will help get it nice even consistency. It'll push all the ingredients properly throughout, and it'll allow you to get the fewest number of bubbles on the inside. And then we're just going to kind of flatten it out and make just a nice little round right here, and lay this down to rise. So you're just going to kind of make a little. Anyone that's worked in a pizza shop will know exactly what you're making right here. Okay, so it's going to look pretty much just like this. Put that down on top of the cornmeal, and then we're going to cover the top of it with cornmeal as well, and this will help it from getting too crusty as it's rising. And then we're going to go ahead and cover it while it's rising, and I'll show you. So this is actually a really cool, my sister made this for me, but it's a it's just like a cooking cloth that I use, but it's these are both of my grandmother's. These are 2 of their recipes that she took off of recipe cards and had them put onto these cloths right there. So it's kind of fun to have grandmas in the kitchen with you right there, but that's always cool. So let's go ahead and pull the other dough out, and then we're gonna do the exact same thing. And this one's a little bit smaller. It wasn't the most even when I cut them, so that first pizza dough is going to be a little bit larger of a pie, but that's fine, doesn't matter. Alright guys, well, we are there. It is time to make a pizza. I'm going to show you what our finished product looks like. Alright, so this is the first dough that we laid down. It's probably been about 35-ish minutes or so. Finally made it to pizza time in the Dmak household right here. So we're going to start pressing this dough out, and you can see just the real nice spongy consistency right there. It's no longer sticky. It's really, really pliable. So we're just going to kind of stretch it out and flip it over and stretch it out some more. So every person that makes pizza has their own way of throwing or tossing doughs. I don't like to throw doughs anymore because it just throws cornmeal all over the kitchen, and I'll be cleaning that stuff out for months. So, because I'll already, just with the amount of cornmeal I'm slinging around the kitchen with this, I'll be cleaning it up for weeks. So, but I just kind of hold the heavy spots and just let gravity do its job, and that will stretch the dough pretty well. You can see we're starting to get a little bit thin in the middle right there, but fortunately we're pliable enough to where we can fold and smash and pretend like that never happened. Kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch, right? Alright, so let's go just a little bit more. Alright, so we're going to lay it out, and then we're just going to kind of stretch it to fit the peel, or the slip, or whatever you want to call it. So, and at this point, obviously making a pizza, so we've just made our like beautiful bad A pizza dough. This is going to be like, this is really good dough, guys. So I really strongly suggest that you guys steal my recipe and try this for your family at home, because this is going to be like one of the best pizzas that you'll ever eat. This is like, I can toot my horn on this recipe right here, because we all love it. But I'm going to start off, and we're going to make a barbecue based pizza, because that is one of the wife and I's favorite. And I have found that Sweet Baby Ray's is about as good as it gets for barbecue base for a pizza. Got a good consistency. It doesn't get too runny. One thing that I have noticed and learned with barbecue base in particular, it's not this way with tomato, but I don't like to spread the barbecue sauce and smear it out like you would with the pizza sauce. I like to pinwheel it like this. I actually think it tastes better when it's done this way, and it just allows itself to drop naturally with the heat of the oven versus smearing it across. I think when you smear it, you lose some of the flavor of the sauce. So it's going to just sit just like that. So we're not going to spread it or smear it anymore. We're just going to go to town on top of that. But from there on, it's just, we went really cheap tonight and just grabbed some pre-shredded cheese and pre-sliced toppings and everything right there. But this is the point where you get to decorate the pie and do whatever the heck you want. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start making pizza and throw them in the oven, and we'll get to that next step. So this is going to be like a pretty cheesy pizza. That's a lot of cheese. Because once this stuff melts and lays down, it will cover up all these little holes. But we like it cheesy. And we're just going to go with pepperoni. I like to do the big meats first on the bottom layer, and then work up through veggies. We're not going to do a whole lot. We're just doing pepperoni, bacon, and onions on this one, so it will get what it gets. So that's just because I didn't feel like pulling anything else. If I have any jalapenos or whatever, I might pull some out of the fridge right there. But really, obviously, this is the personalized part of making a pizza, is putting the toppings on to your personalized specifications. So we like the pepperoni in the house, so we're going to pep it up. Grab some red onion. Didn't have a whole lot of bacon laying around, but I cooked up a couple of pieces and have enough to throw an extra little layer of complexity to the pie right here. Bacon obviously is good on everything, so why not put it on your pizza, right? Oh, I'm just gonna finish it with just a cool. All right, so now we are to the oven. So we are going to, I've got the oven set at 465. That's my preferred temperature. My oven is pretty freaking accurate with its temping, so 465 has worked really well for me. And so we got the cornmeal down on the slip. The first thing you want to do is you're going to want to kind of wiggle it like that so you got movement on your slip before you go into the oven. The next thing that is a trick to proper pizza making is that you're going to need a stone. I like cooking on pizza stones because it just works better. So we're going to go ahead and go into the oven. We're slipping, and then we just drop it onto the stone right there. And we're going to let that cook for as long as it needs to cook. So, yeah. So typically cooking it, it's usually about 8 to 12 minutes. Really, you kind of watch it. I spin it. I'll show you the spin here in a little bit, but probably about 5.5, 6 minutes into the cook time, we'll spin it 180 degrees just so it can get a little bit even cooking across the stone right. All right, guys, let's take a look at our pizza. Oh, she's looking good. She's ready for her spin, so we're gonna put her on spin cycle right here. Just a 180 degree spin right there real quick. Looking good. All right, guys, this pizza is done, so we're gonna pull it out of the oven and finish it. All right. Good stuff. All right, so there's only one more step, or there's technically 2 more steps to this pizza to have it finished. And I gotta show you the most important step right now, which is going to be a little unfortunate because I don't have any Parmesan cheese, man. This is what you get when you're like moving. Alright guys, well this is the last step, and unfortunately due to the bare cupboards that we have because we are getting ready to move, I'm missing like 50% of this, but typically what I would do is I would, as you see, brush the crust in garlic butter, and then we would sprinkle that crust with Parmesan cheese, but we are out of Parmesan cheese. So we're getting just the garlic butter treatment, but that's okay because that just makes it a nice garlic buttery crust. So, and that, my friends, is how you make a pizza. Well, alrighty guys, that's going to wrap up our pizza dough making adventure for the evening. I do appreciate you guys tuning in as I showed with you my recipe. Feel free to ask any questions, share any concerns, gripes, or testimonials in the comment section below. Free to like, share, comment, and subscribe on the video. Smash that notification bell for future installments. Again, I'm Dan with Dmak Outdoors signing off. Stay safe out there, guys.